So, you know very well as I do that Doppler's got a little yippy problem, and we've been working on that. And you recommended just something very simple, and that was just walk between two holding blinds and um, just check a bird out. And you seemed to, I mean, it wasn't a magic pill, but it was that itty bitty baby step that that he may need. So tell me about that.
So I was having trouble with Michael um, being very anxious, which Doppler appears that he's anxious.
Yeah.
And so I contacted a friend of mine, Chris Rudd, and he works with a pro, Dan
Hmm.
Erkey. And he says, I got this great drill. You basically set up, he had me set up two walk up wingers, two wingers that we just walked between. And you're just looking for a high standard of obedience, right?
Hmm.
And as soon as they are behaving themselves, you have them sit and you throw a bird out of the wingers. But what I was took it one step further and I set up multiple holding blinds because one of the issues I was having was Michael was dragging me from one holding blind to the next when we get to a test. And I thought he was going to kill me, which I didn't really want to have happen. So I just basically took a bird, tucked it under my arm or in behind my back, and as long as he came out of the holding blind like a gentleman or walked with me like a gentleman, I would randomly just turn 90 degrees, make him sit and throw a bird. And what it did was it seemed to relieve that anxiety. So we got rewarded for being a good boy. No different than we would if they were in the kitchen and we made
Yeah.
them sit before their meal or
Yeah.
a cookie or whatever.
Okay.
Um, and then I just basically started to expand longer and longer before he got the bird.
Right.
So back in the days of my doing competition obedience, we called that a jackpot.
Mm.
So we made him go through the whole. So now he has to go through all the holding blinds as a gentleman, and then I could randomly throw. He never knows if I'm going to throw him a bird or if he's just going to go into the field and get a bird thrown.
Well, I was surprised when I ran it with Doppler, just walking between the holding blinds and then come out and make him sit and just chuck one and just wait a second or two. He wasn't whisper quiet, but I mean, the volume came down to about half a tick compared to all the way up to
Sure.
10. So, and he actually did all right. So I'm hopeful that maybe I can continue that off and on.
I would say, in the yard or wherever you can do it, if you
Yeah.
can do it, just a couple of just some holding blinds or just walk up wingers.
Yeah, yeah.
Just plop it out there. I mean, at some point, just sitting back and not getting anything and all they're doing is carrying on, they're never getting rewarded for being quiet. And all it does is bring their anxiety further
Right.
up. So that
Yep.
anxiety,
Sit.
anxious dogs. I had to find a
Heel.
different path up the mountain
Sit.
because I've never had a dog like Michael that was this anxious,
Well,
trying to do the right
that
thing.
high drive. I mean, that's
Yeah.
um, Dave Roram calls them stallions. I mean, they're just rocket ships with the you light the candle and I mean
Yeah.
they got such bird prey drive in them that
Well,
it's hard to
well,
harness that in.
I was talking to somebody and we were talking about how we're breeding dogs these days with so much drive,
Hmm.
and are we creating too much drive?
Mm.
Too much drive that they become like sensitive, soft,
Yeah.
anxious.
Well, it depends on what game you want to play. I think if you want a high drive dog, I mean that's a field trial game, right? You want them to go
But
three times 400 to 500
but
yards.
are we trying to create these
Sit.
drag racing dogs that we really need Formula Ones that can handle?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So I don't know.
you see in the group training all the time, there's dogs that are so lethargic that you don't know if they're going to even come up to the line. And then there's dogs that will drag the truck to the line, you know? It's like,
What's the old adage? Can't push a rope.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, and that was a great tip that Chris gave me, and I stuck with it
For a while.
for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks on and off. I mean, I didn't give him anything as far as marks out in the field.
Right.
The problem with that is when you do go back to the field, it's like a toothpaste tube. Some stuff is not as good as it was. So as long as you're okay with that and
Yeah.
you
Well, I can't go
maintain
forward until I get a handle
exactly.
on the noise. So then I'll work on all the other stuff. But yeah, I was surprised that it was like, oh shit, I should have done this a long time ago.
Well, I was at a loss, so Chris was really helpful with it, and he basically incorporates this into his basics program. It's
Sure.
just you
One of
just
the
do it.
other, yeah, the other
It's just part
baby
of it.
step. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Having that uber level of obedience, because if they're that 5-foot circle, right? If you
Right.
can't get control in the 5-foot circle,
Right,
you're
right,
not
right,
gonna
right,
have
right. Yeah,
control
the old
somewhere
Pat
else.
Burns adage, yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about steadiness in the hole and blind and here in the line, at the line. This is one of the most important skills for a junior hunt test dog. And it's also one of the most common areas where, things can start to break down and unravel. Now, you can have a dog that marks well, retrieves well out in the field, does exceptional out there, but if you cannot get control here, this is where things can unravel quickly. So I want to go through this lesson with you to show you how to teach steadiness in a way that's simple, fair to the dog, and something that you can do consistently even when you're out here training alone like I am today. Now, when we talk about steadiness, we're not just talking about a dog sitting or laying down like this in the hold'em line. We're talking about a dog that's staying mentally under control while something exciting is happening out in the field. Well, the birds are going out and the dog wants to go, but that's natural to have that excitement. But our job is to teach them, you don't go until I send you. And that's the foundation of steadiness. So let's start simple, like I'm doing here today. You have a dog sitting here at heel in the hold'em blind, and we're just going to walk around in figure eight, sit, have a bumper in our hand, and when the dog complies, I'm just going to toss a bumper out here next to the hold'em blind. And that's going to teach the dog to work with me and be steady and under control. Because if you can't get it here in a 10-foot circle or 20-foot circle around you, around these hold'em blinds, you're never going to get it when it comes to a hunt test because the excitement level is way too extreme. This is a simple drill that we're doing right here. Now, some dogs are rocket ships. They just you light the candle, or oh my God, they just want to go. And like this is a stallion. He's got an incredible amount of prey drive. So it's my job to try and bring that level down. And it's probably harder to do that than it is to have a dog that's more timid and trying to get them excited. So we're trying to find balance here when we're working on steadiness. These dogs that I just ran, I'm going to give him a correction here.
Kennel.
Sit.
Nope. Kennel, sit down.
Are 2 and 3 years old. Sit. So they're probably a lot older than what most of you junior handlers out there are dealing with. But this is something you can do with a 20-foot lead and a choke chain. And you can walk around and do this drill. No problem. You're going to have to kind of balance it out between using a long lead, choke chain, and an e-collar. So that's why they need to be e-collar conditioned. Simple drill. If they comply and do well, I'll throw them a bumper, make them sit there, count to 1, 2, 3 in my head, send the dog. So we're trying to get to a 2 to 3 count, and eventually you want to get to a 5 to 10 count. Or they just sit there and have to be quiet and focus on that white bumper that's 5 to 10 yards away. And ideally, you want to work up to the point where you do not have to use a rope or a tab to hold them. You may start that way, but eventually what I just showed you here is the end result. And this is something I'll come back to several times a week, even when my dogs are a little bit older. Because I'm working on creeping, I'm working on sitting, I'm working on vocal issues, I'm working on trying to bring the excitement level down.
Heel.
And I want to get compliance here at a very short distance. And if I can't get it here, I certainly will not get it at a hunt test. So think about that. So let's start simple. You have a dog sitting at heel. You throw a short, easy mark. Nothing long, nothing complicated. Because you want them to see it out in the field.
Hey, heel.
Don't send them right away. Do not send them right away. Just let them sit there and watch
River.
that bumper on the ground or bird. This is where the learning begins because you're
Sit.
teaching here. Just because something was thrown doesn't mean you get to go, okay? Now, early on, your dog may get excited, right? Hopefully they do, because they should have a lot of bird prey. They may lean forward, they may creep, they may even try to break and want to go. Okay, that's normal. But what matters is how you handle it. You need to stay calm. You need to bring the dog back to the exact spot where you were running from, and no emotion or frustration from you as you make a correction here. Over time, they need to understand this. The only way they get to go is if they're calm, cool, and collected.
Back.
Now, once the dog settled down and holds a position, then you send the dog. And something is really interesting going to happen here, especially over time, for you and the dog. The dog that waits calmly tends to mark better. They take better lines. They retrieve with more confidence, and because they're thinking and not reacting. This is where a lot of handlers miss this point. They always throw and then send right away. We mean split second. So the dog starts to expect this because that's just muscle memory. Bird goes off, I go. Well, instead, you need to start mixing it up. Sometimes you'll send right away. Sometimes you wait 3 to 5 seconds. Sometimes you don't even send at all. You pick it up yourself. Remove the assumption and get that dog under control. You'll usually see a few things pop up here.
Sit.
Creeping is one of them,
Sit.
where the dog inches forward. Or they want to break and they just want to go before being sent. Or they start to get vocal and whine. That's excitement. And when this happens, you do not speed things up. You need to slow everything way down. You need to shorten the sessions. You need to get that dog under control, because you cannot go to a hunt test if all that crap is happening while you're in training. At the junior level, you're not looking for perfection here, but you are looking for control. It's important. A steady dog sits calmly at heel, watches the mark, and waits until you send the dog. That moment right there, that's where a lot of success begins. If you take the time to build steadiness properly, everything else in your dog's training will start to improve. Your dog will become more focused, more controlled, more consistent. And that's exactly what you want when you step up to the line at a hunt test. In the next lesson, we'll work on how to teach a clean, reliable delivery to hand, so your dog looks pretty good when they go to their first junior hunt test, okay? Sit. Kennel. 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 Come on. Kennel. 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 Sit. Heel. Kennel. Sit. Here. River. Heel. Sit. Kennel. Kennel. No, in there. Get in there. Sit down. Sit. Heel. River. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Heel. Sit. Heel. Here. Kennel. Sit. Hey. Heel. River. Sit. Sit! Kennel.
Look at me. Heel. Kennel. Sit down. Heel. Sit. No. Here. Kennel. Kennel. Heel. Five. Heel. Dog. 28. 13. River. Sit. Heel. Sit. Kennel. Heel. No. Kennel. Kennel. Sit. Heel. Kennel. Kennel. That was his first bump on the collar. Heel. Sit. Doppler. Sit. Kennel. Bit your tongue, didn't you? You're bleeding. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Sit. Kennel. Here. Kennel. Sit. Doppler. Sit. Kennel. Kennel. Guns up. Heel. Heel.
Doppler. Sit. Flat buckle collar. So if you're running junior, these have to come off. You can't have tabs on here on your collar if you're going to run junior. But just a flat buckle collar. And again, you can hold the dog gently like this before you run. You can't be pushing their head up. You know, you can't be turning them with the collar. It just has to be gentle. Either that or you put a slip lead on it. So the big issue is going from holding the dog steady to taking this off and making the dog be steady. Here, sit. That is one of the biggest hurdles for moving up between junior and senior. Steadiness and control at the line and walking to the line.